Jai Hind and welcome back to India Today's continuing coverage on Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's 125th birth anniversary. The Prime Minister at this point of time is at the National Library in Kolkata. He's also meeting artists who've put together paintings on the life of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and how Netaji influenced lives of people across our country. This is Prime Minister Narendra Modi paying his respects, his tributes to Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, one of India's greatest sons. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was very inspired by Swami Vivekanand. At the Victoria Memorial, the Prime Minister, looking at various paintings that artists have put together. Way ahead of his times, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Women have been accepted in combat in the Indian Army now, in the Corps of Military Police, or as fighter pilots in the Indian Air Force now. But Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose had done this in the 1940s. In 1943, you had the Rani Lakshmibai Regiment, an all-women regiment of the Azad Hind Fauj of the Indian National Army. Captain Lakshmi Sehgal was one of the officers of the Azad Hind Fauj of the Rani Lakshmibai Regiment. And the Prime Minister is looking at those images. Let's for a moment dip in and try and listen in. I want to cut across to India Today's Tanushree Pandey. Tanushree, you've looked at these images that show us various facets of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's life. Bring us more details, Tanushree.
Absolutely, Gaurav. In fact, as you rightly said, that what, the Indian Army started doing of late, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose has been doing that since forever. And in fact, he was the one who, made an all-women regiment in his team, in his army, which was named after Rani Jhansi Bai. And there are in the National Library where Prime Minister Narendra Modi just entered with his cavalcade. He's now looking at the paintings which features the works related to done by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, the artifacts, the very rare pictures of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose meeting the all-women regiment of his. And he was one person who not just had an unwavering love for the country, and but he also was a person who broke stereotypes, who never believed in any kind of taboos, and he was someone who believed in equality. And that is something, Gaurav, which we can tell by looking at the paintings which we saw inside the National Library of India, where the Prime Minister is right now looking at the paintings which basically features, which shows the Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, his meetings with his soldiers at Azad in Azad Hind Fauj, and the artists who have made these paintings will be felicitated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi today as a part of an event of Parakram Diwas. Now, after that, he's also to deliver a valedictory speech in an international conference which will be held inside the National Library. And the conference will be on Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and how he inspired the entire country, and how he is one of the reasons why the country saw independence. So it's a very big day for the country, not just for the country, but especially for the city of Kolkata and for the state of West Bengal. Here, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose is a big inspiration, is one of the biggest idols, of this state, and not just this state, but for the entire country. But today, these kind of events taking place in the center, in the heart of Kolkata, is a big deal for the citizens of Kolkata as well. Prime Minister coming here, Gaurav, we were just a short while back, we were witnessing the kind of crowd outside the National Library. They had to be actually taken, the security here present outside the National Library actually had to request the crowd to move back due to security reasons. So yes, and there was a lot of chanting of Jai Shri Ram and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So definitely this is really beneficial for Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the BJP government as well, because this kind of recognition and love given to Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose on his 125th birth anniversary is something the people of Kolkata, the people of West Bengal really wanted. And right now PM is doing exactly that. Prime Minister is doing all he can to make sure that the next generation, the entire country, the youngsters, recognize what Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose stood for and what kind of a leader he was. And he's right now inside the National Library. He's looking at the paintings which features. He's looking at the tableau which features the work of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. He'll come out in some time, in half an hour from now, and then from here he'll be going to Victoria Memorial, is what we have been told. Gaurav, back to you.
Okay, and Netaji's letters, they are so inspiring. Letters where he talks about the struggle for independence, the need for independence. The fact, General Kulkarni, if I may, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was a realist. He knew writing petitions to the British, to the Queen or the King would not get India independence. He knew you would not go down on a knee, on a bent knee to get independence. You had to show strength, and he inspired the nation. His radio address on Radio Berlin inspired Indians virtually across the world to stand up and contribute for that freedom struggle, including armed struggle for independence.
Gaurav, I must tell you two things. First, you must, at least to the next generation, they must see his handwriting. What a handwriting! What a handwriting! A man, his clarity, vision can be seen from the kind of handwriting this Netaji had. Fantastic. The second thing I must tell you, I spent about a year in Japan, and there was not a single gathering, whether it was formal or informal. Whenever and wherever I went with this gala band, there would first thing, only two names that always came to their mind. They would ask me, do you know Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose? Do you know Justice Paul? That is the kind, wherever I went. It isn't that it was only military gathering or something. Any civilian gathering, anywhere in Japan, the kind of respect, the kind of love, the kind of affection, the kind of, he was a great man for the Japanese, even till date. This look up to this man. And and when you came back in our own country, everybody knows. It isn't that people don't know him. But yes, the recognition that was deserved of a person who was really outstanding. Absolutely inspirational figure. There's a need, there's a requirement. I go along with the professor when he says that in every textbook in schools and colleges, people not only of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, all those who have contributed toward the greatness of this country must be told to our children. Otherwise, it will all be lost. Right now we find that the government of India is taking a lead, and therefore you find millions of people joining in to actually accept and recognize, yes, there was a person like Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Even Prime Minister Attlee at that point of time had stated that, yes, whatever be it so, this propaganda value, this kind of nationalism, this kind of feeling, they started feeling uneasy in India. It was only because of the Azad Hind War. It was only because of the Netaji's mobilization of the people in the country. They felt uneasy. They felt it was now time to quit India and leave India, and the talk of independence and everything started around us that time. So you find that there's tremendous impact Netaji has left on this country, and all of it must be recognized. All of it must be known. All of it must be preserved, images, and each one of us must take pride in it.
This is the Prime Minister at the National Library. This is the Prime Minister. Look at these images. The Prime Minister, his aim is to ensure that the legacy of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose is appreciated by the next generation of our country. The Prime Minister now witnessing an exhibition. Let's try and listen in.
यहाँ पर बुद्धिजीवियों से प्रधानमंत्री मुलाकात कर रहे हैं, और ये सारे बुद्धिजीवी जो वर्कशॉप चल रहा है उसमें शामिल हुए हैं, और इसके साथ साथ अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर के भी यहाँ पर बुद्धिजीवी आए हैं. विशाल,
well, maybe taking cue from what he said, that he wanted to join the Indian Army. He did not even join the army, but he also fought for the nation and also commanded. He was the supreme leader of the Indian National Army. And there you see the Prime Minister entering the Belvedere House. This has been the location and point of many historical meetings. There you see the Prime Minister coming out. Today is also an international hybrid conference which is being held virtually, and speakers from half a dozen countries are participating, and the subject is revisiting the legacy of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Prime Minister coming out accompanied by Governor of Bengal, and there you see the walk of the Prime Minister, quite poised, and he is so contented because
so this is the Prime Minister at the National Library. This conference is going to be extremely interesting. This conference revisiting the legacy of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose in the 21st century. I want to bring in senior journalist Shubhajit Bagchi, who joins me on the broadcast. And Shubhajit, at one level, people may talk about electoral politics. They may talk about both the BJP and the Trinamool Congress trying to appropriate the legacy of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. But at a different level, this is Generation Next of India, perhaps for the first time, hearing and learning about the contributions Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose made to India's independence struggle, and perhaps one of the real architects of India's independence struggle finally getting his due. Shubhajit.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, this is good that there is so much talk about Netaji. I mean, it is just not Netaji, but other important personalities kind of getting studied more and more in Bengal. So that we can see now. So this is definitely very important. Day, I would say that way. That is one side of the story. The other side of the story, of course, is I would say also is the first battle of a very long-drawn political war that we are going to see. It has been marked today. I mean, whatever is happening in Calcutta, I have already posted on social media that this is perhaps the first battle of a very long-drawn war that we are going to see, a political battle. So it has both sides.
Prime Minister greeting everybody, saying good.
Very interesting, sir. Bring us, more details, sir, on this big war that you talk about. This is not just a legacy war. Are you hinting towards now more of an ideological war that we are witnessing in West Bengal, sir?
But also many important books and records.
Yeah, of course. You know, the BJP here, and we have to now name the parties, BJP and Trinamool Congress. BJP, to start with BJP, I mean, it has a problem with Netaji in the sense that, on one side, it helps BJP. Netaji helps BJP because he was against the Congress. He floated his party going against the Congress. So that is the side of Netaji that BJP wants to celebrate. I mean, their leaders, particularly those who are aligned with RSS, often discusses this. But his other side is something they also have to deal with it. And the other side is Netaji was always, and in fact, in your channel a few days back, I was saying this, that, he had this whole idea of India, which is a very pluralistic India. And that is why he formed this Indian National Party, Indian National Army, which fought the British. It was a small symbolic army. But what is important is there were people from all caste, creed, religion, and even gender in that party. Now, this is where BJP has the conflict with Trinamool Congress. Trinamool Congress is bringing this part in. And if you have followed, I'm sure you have followed, whatever has happened in Calcutta today. I mean, in the morning, there was a speech by Sugato Bose, who is the grandnephew of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. And he exactly said what I'm saying now, that pluralism, and in fact, it was a speech on Abid Hassan. Abid Hassan was one of the most important co-associate of Netaji. In fact, the Jai Hind slogan, if I'm not very wrong, was coined by him. So it was a speech on Abid Hassan, and there Mr. Bose has categorically said the role of Netaji, the role of pluralism in Indian politics, and in fact something which, in fact, my friends aligned with the RSS only told me that Netaji kept on talking about the Bengali Muslims, how to uplift them, to bring them in the main fold, something on which Ambedkar also has written. So this is something they have to deal with. On the other side, of course, he was a staunch opposition to the Gandhi, as I said, which something helps BJP. So this is a confusing situation for the BJP. On the other side, Trinamool Congress, of course, has been claiming Netaji as something they are part of. I mean, Mamata Banerjee has been always telling, even when he was in Congress, he has been talking, because, she knew that she has to do politics in Bengal. She has to always talk about Tagore, she has to talk about Netaji and all. I mean, she has been doing that part of our larger politics. And also at one point, if you remember, Communist Party was a little averse to Netaji,
Yes.
but later they got All India, this All India Forward Bloc founded by Netaji, if I'm not wrong, 1942. And there, and Forward Bloc and Mamata Banerjee had this similar conflict, which we have seen 20, 25 years back when Mamata Banerjee was coming to
You're
power.
absolutely right, sir.
Now we see the same legacy.
The moment he was marginalized and sidelined in the Congress party, yes, sir, give me a moment. I want to cut across to India Today's Indrajit Kundu, but you're absolutely right. The moment he was marginalized and sidelined in the Congress party, despite having won elections, despite Gandhiji saying that in case, Patabi Sitaramaya loses, it is Gandhiji's defeat, Netaji won, and that showed how popular he was amongst the leaders of the Congress party. Well, that's the time he was marginalized in the Congress, and he subsequently formed the Forward Bloc. But I want to bring in Indrajit Kundu. And Indrajit, Prime Minister trying to revive the legacy of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, more than just perhaps marginalization by the Congress party, by Mahatma Gandhi and others at that point of time. It's more about his role in India's independence struggle and establishing the need to establish a strong nation with an army, with an intelligence network, with women having equal role, having its own mint. All of that is something that the nation perhaps doesn't know in great detail, and that's what the government is trying to highlight.
Well, that's right, and it's very, very crucial. It's significant. In a sense, Netaji must get his due. That is the sentiment as far as West Bengal is concerned, because for long, people in Bengal have always that has been a popular sentiment, that Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose hasn't really got his due. And as far as his legacy in the Indian freedom struggle is concerned, Netaji is beyond, everything as far as West Bengal is concerned. He is a very, very emotive issue. As I've been saying all through this morning when we were moving across that rally that Mamata Banerjee was leading, and even though there is a lot of political messaging from all these that is happening, but the Netaji family continues to maintain, all the family members of the Bose family, that Netaji is beyond politics. He might have been a political leader in his, at his time, at his age, but he is beyond politics now. He is Desh Nayak, he is an icon. And therefore, cutting across political ideologies, one must pay their homage and tribute to Netaji. And of course, as it is being cited, the fact that because of West Bengal elections and the fact that it is 125th birth anniversary of Netaji, it has coincided with the elections. Suddenly we see all political parties going out of their way to paying their tribute to Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, which is great because people of India must remember Netaji, and as we have been stating, not just his name, but also the kind of things that he has done in his lifetime, having a women regiment in his army, forming the Indian National Army for that matter, and of course issues like having a planning commission, as you said, having its own mint, its own government, the Azad Hind government. So all these things are way ahead of their time, and in a sense many historians believe that the British finally quit India because of the kind of armed resistance that Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, offered the British. That became a trigger that acted as a catalyst for the British to somehow, pack their bags and leave India. So this is something that needs to be highlighted, that needs to be, taught at the
very
school
important
level.
point you
and
raised
that
there,
has
Indrajit.
always been a demand from West Bengal.
Yes. When some try to say India is a soft power, India is not a soft power. India is a hard power, and this hard power is what Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose advocated all his life. That is one reason why every Indian must read about Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Let me also bring into this conversation Lieutenant General Gurmeet Singh. He joins us on the broadcast, and we will have the biggest panel of experts and reporters on ground to get you the true picture of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's legacy. So it's for us, it's not about what the Trinamool Congress may believe or what the BJP may believe. This is about what India must know about one of India's biggest freedom fighters. And General Gurmeet Singh, The British did not give us independence because of Quit India movement. The British did not give us independence because we were writing petitions for independence. We got independence because we fought for it, we bled for it, and we killed for it.
Absolutely, Gaurav, I think you're dot on. If we got independence, it is because of the sacrifice. It is because of the leaders like Subhash Chandra Bose. He was the one who followed the muscular approach, the military approach. In fact, out of the 60,000 of the INA soldiers, 24,000 gave the supreme sacrifice. That is the level of the sacrifice which went for the India to get independence. In fact, I'm very happy that today is a great day, and there is a revival, there's a restoration to the glory of, to the legacy of Subhash Chandra Bose. And the beauty is that he's the one who initiated this Jai Hind. He's the one who created this Azad Hind Fauj. He's the one who had created a provincial government in 21st October 1943. He, to me, is a great strategist. He had a great vision, and he was a realistic and a practical man. In fact, I would say, when I look at him, he was a military leader, he was a national leader, he's a national icon. He's
General, stay with me for a moment. General, stay with me for a moment. This is Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Live images that are coming in from the Victoria Memorial in Kolkata.